Hello there. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a little necklace design that I made. This one feels kind of witchy and is very aesthetic in my opinion. I really love how this one turned out. So if you want to see how I created this beautiful necklace, keep watching. Most of the materials that I got for making this necklace came from craft stores like Michael's and Hobby Lobby. I think the gold beads that I got were from a kit off of Amazon that just had some pearl and gold beads in it. The inspiration for a lot of the necklaces that I make is, could I see someone in a fantasy world wearing this? Could I see a royal princess during a Renaissance era, or the inspiration behind this necklace, maybe a modern day witch wearing this, or in one of my next videos I'll be sharing one that I think was kind of inspired by a mermaid. I like using color theory and having some unique pieces like this amethyst stone to try and tell a story of who might wear a necklace like this. And I think these small, they're kind of white, but I think they were originally like more of a purple tone. These small white crystal chips, I think, are a perfect complement to the amethyst stones that I'm using. So for this top piece, I'm using an elastic to make the beaded portion. Normally I would use a chain to make it, because I want this to be one solid line going across the length of the necklace. I'm going to use elastic instead of chaining together each individual bead. And I'm using these small little crimp beads to create loops on either side of the elastic so that I can then incorporate it into our chain. So to make those little loops on the ends, I just pull both ends of the elastic through the crimp bead, get the loop to the size that I want, and then trim off any of the excess elastic after I crimp that bead closed. And I'll give it a good tug just to make sure that it's really secure in there and it's not going to fall out at any point. So next I'm just using my looper tool with some eye pins to create a chain length that will make up the rest of the necklace. And at this point, I'm going to start laying things out and seeing what kind of elements I can add to it and where I want things to sit on the necklace itself. And then I'm building out one of those chains using these small jump rings. So once the chain is at a decent length, I'll lay it down and see how it lines up with everything else and make sure that it's long enough, but not too long, so that it sits just where I want it. And then I'll make another one for the other side. Now I'm looking at the center stone that is the main focal point of the piece, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to connect, because the stone has 2 loops on either side of it. How am I going to center it with the dangling part of the necklace and make it even on both sides without it falling over to one side? So my solution was to create kind of a small chain on either side and then connect those in the middle. And I realized at this point that I had the bead on there before I actually wanted it to, so I just knocked it off and then put it back after I had it all together. So that's something to remember when you're putting your chains and things together on your jump rings, is that the order of them does matter when you're going to have your jump ring surrounded by a bunch of other objects on in the necklace. If you have your elements like crisscrossed across the jump ring, they won't lay flat and it'll look kind of wonky. So I'm always paying attention to what order I put things on the jump ring. And then I'm just doing the other sides of the necklace, getting those on a jump ring and secured. And then I can lay it flat after it gets all tangled up. And we can start to see what the final piece is going to look like. I'm just going to use a simple gold chain for the rest of it. And for this one I am going to measure it out because I want it to be almost a choker length. And I know just off the top of my head that the average choker is about 12 to 14 inches in length. So since the middle elements that I already have made are about 4 inches, I need about 4 inches on either side. And for me personally, with my neck, I know that mine needs to be about 14 inches rather than 12. So I'll go and try this on, realize that I need to make it bigger, and then I'll add a little extender to it. So I'm just opening up those jump rings that I just closed to add the chain on. And here's how it looks on my form, and I'm just making sure that everything is sitting correctly and looks good. And here's how it actually looks on me. I feel like it always looks a little bit differently on a person than it does on a form. So here I've extended it, and I decided after trying it on myself that I wanted to add another little element off to the side that isn't part of the main piece. I want to add some extra stuff because I felt like it was looking kind of narrow. So I'm going to be building out a small little loop using my eye pins and more of those purple beads. And here I'm actually building out the chain using some more jump rings, and then I'm opening up the necklace jump rings to add that little chain on. And I did have to cut into the necklace as well to add a jump ring. And I much prefer this final result. I feel like it looks a little more complete with that extra little loop on either end. And here is how the final necklace looks. And I think it looks so cute and very witchy, and I love how this one turned out. I hope you enjoyed watching and seeing my process. If you did, please let me know in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video.